Hi there, freelance friends. Welcome back. Today's another episode of Let's Talk Tech. Today, I'm going to discuss how to stop writing the same emails over and over again. Hopefully, it will give you some time back. We're going to call it a freelancer's guide to email templates. Because if you're a freelancer, you probably spend more time writing emails than you'd like to admit. I know that that's true for me. You have project proposals, status updates, polite declines, follow-ups, thank you messages, scheduling confirmations. As you know, the list goes on and on. Now, here's the thing. Most of these emails aren't that unique. You're likely saying the same things in roughly the same way to different people. And yet, you're probably writing each one from scratch every single time, staring at a blank screen, trying to remember how you worded it last time, tweaking phrases to sound professional but not robotic, warm but not overly casual. It can be exhausting, and it's a massive waste of your time. So, I propose that you create email templates. I know that I used to spend 10 to 15 minutes crafting emails that I'd written versions of dozens of times before. A proposal for a new client, an application to a certain project, 10 minutes. A polite, I'm booked up right now response, 5 minutes. A project status update, another 10 minutes. That all adds up. So if you're sending even just 5 of these common but customized emails per week, that's nearly a half hour of your time spent rewriting things you've already written. Think about that. That is time back in your pocket. So what should you do instead? Create a library of email templates. For me, the same emails take me 30 seconds to a minute to send. I pull up the template, customize the relevant details like the client name, the project specifics, the dates, and I hit send. That's it. Done. And that's not an exaggeration. What used to be a 10-minute task is now a 30-second task. And I love that. Over the course of a month, that's hours of reclaimed time. Time that I can spend on actual billable work or, trying to have a life. So how do you build this email template library? You don't need any fancy software to do this. Of course, there are tools that can make your life easier, and I will mention a few of them that have been recommended to me, but you can simply start with your email client's built-in features or a simple document of where you can share your templates, and then copy and paste as needed. So here are some different ways to approach it. The first way is to identify the most common email types. So that's what we'll do first is I'll advise you to look back through your sent email folder and look for patterns. What emails do you send repeatedly? For most freelancers, at least for me, these include initial inquiry responses to potential clients, project proposals, the old thanks for reaching out, but I'm not available message, the thanks for reaching out, but this isn't a good fit message, I need more information from you, follow-ups, thank you emails, testimonial request emails, out of office, or limited availability notices. So start with the ones that you send the most frequently after you identify them. Then just write a strong template version. Take one of the best versions of that email, one where you felt like you nailed the tone and got a good response, and then turn it into a template. The key is to write it in a way that's easy for you to customize quickly. So use placeholders for the parts that change, like the client name, the project details, the dates, the specific deliverables, but keep the structure and tone consistent. Then figure out how you're going to store and organize these templates. You have a few options. So option one would be your email client features. Most email clients like Google or Outlook have the ability to create multiple signatures or built-in templates specifically for canned responses. Now, as far as the email signatures, I know some people who will set up an email signature for each of their email templates, and then they just choose that when writing the email. Or, of course, as I mentioned, you can use the built-in template feature if you'd like. In Gmail, you can enable templates in the settings. You have to go to advanced and then save those emails as templates. In Outlook, you can either save the emails as templates or use quick parts. Quick parts are really cool. If you haven't used them, I'd advise looking them up. In fact, maybe I'll put that on my list of topics to cover if you're interested. You can use quick parts beyond Outlook. I know that I use them oftentimes in my Word documents, and they are also time savers. So I'll speak about that separately because quick parts on its own is a separate video. And then in Apple Mail, you could do what I suggested about creating the different signatures and then using them as templates. Now, that's not exclusive to Apple Mail, but because Apple Mail does have some limited capabilities with regards to creating templates the way that Gmail and Outlook do, that would probably be the definite way to use it within Apple Mail and an optional way to use it within Gmail and Outlook. Now, the second option is to use some text expansion tools. I don't personally use them, but I know that some people really do say that these are very helpful to them. Tools like Text Expander, A-Text, or Phrase Express were the ones that I found highly recommended. They let you create shortcuts that expand into full email templates. So all you have to do is type a shortcut like proposal, and it expands into your full proposal email template with cursor stops where you need to fill in the details. I will put the links to those sites in this video in the comments if you are interested in any of those. The third option would be just a simple document, but sometimes the easiest solutions and the best solutions are the simplest solutions. So feel free to keep a Word document or a Google Doc, or I really feel like this is very well suited for OneNote. For those of you who are OneNote fans, you could have a notebook of email templates, and each page within that notebook could be a different email template. That would be a great way to organize them, in my opinion. And then all you have to do is copy, paste, customize, and send. It's really low tech, but it definitely is functional. So why does this process work? Because it really gives you a time saver on what you're doing. Remember that we mentioned that before templates, if you were sending just five common emails per week, and that it took you 10 minutes on average to write each email, that would mean that templatizing your work could save you approximately 50 minutes per week and 3.5 hours per month. That's real time, in my opinion. Now, after the templates, think about the same scenario. You're sending the same 5 emails each week, 1 minute per average email to send. To pull the template, customize it, and send it. So it's going to take you 5 minutes per week. So rather than 3.5 hours per month, it's taking you 20 minutes a month. So that means that your time saved is about 3 hours per month. That's real time. And that's a conservative estimate. If you're sending more emails or if your emails tend to run longer, the time saved could actually even be greater. 3 hours a month may not sound like a ton, but that's 3 hours you can spend on billable work, marketing, business development, or radical thought, not working. And if you've seen one of my other recent posts, you'll know that I am looking for a way to find more time in my days, in my weeks. So some tips for using templates effectively before we sign off. First, customize them meaningfully. The reason that I'm suggesting that you use a template instead of an AI tool is because I don't want you to just swap in the name and hit send. Take 20 seconds to personalize it with a detail from their inquiry or previous conversation with you. That will show that you're paying attention and prevent the email from feeling robotic. Next, keep updating these templates. They shouldn't be static. Your templates are not set in stone. If you find yourself making the same edit repeatedly, well, think about updating the template. And if you notice a particular phrasing gets better responses, why not incorporate that into the template? Third, create variations for different scenarios. So you may need a decline because I'm booked template and then a separate decline because it's not a good fit template. Or you may need a status update when everything is on track email versus a status update when there's an issue. Create variations so you're not forcing a template to fit a situation it wasn't designed for. Fourth, what good life advice in general? Don't overthink it. Your templates don't need to be perfect. They just need to be good enough to save you time. You can always refine them as you go. Fifth, and another reason why I suggested using templates instead of AI is I feel like it's important for you to use a consistent voice in these templates. Your templates should all sound like you, because if your communication style is casual and friendly, but your templates don't reflect that, then there's going to be a disconnect or a potential disconnect in your communication with your clients. So consistency in the voice of these templates is really helping to build your brand. So as I mentioned, and I'll list these at the end, there are tools that people use who do use this on a really large scale basis that are recommended. I don't personally use them. I just use the signature option, and then I do have a few saved in a document as I mentioned. But there's Text Expander, and that one runs, as of the time of this recording, about $40 a year for individuals. You type a shortcut like ;proposal, and it expands into your full template. You can even set cursor stops so that you jump to the spots where you need to customize. Of course, that reduces the risk that you forget to customize. That is something you definitely don't want to do. You don't want to send an email that's not customized to a client and that makes them aware of the fact that you're using a template to respond. And then there's Atext. This one is just a one-time $5 purchase. It's similar to Text Expander, but obviously it's cheaper and it's simpler. So this is great if you just want a basic text expansion tool. Then there's Streak for Gmail, and there is a free version available of it. It lets you save email templates directly in Gmail with more advanced features than the built-in option that Gmail has. Then there is Jamilius. That one starts at $9 a month at the time of this recording. It takes your email templates plus shared inboxes, email scheduling, and collaboration features if you work with a team. So that is something a little bit more elaborate for the single freelancer, but it may be something that's useful to those of you who do have a larger team. And then, of course, there's a program like Notion. I have used Notion for a few things. I think it's a great tool. So if you prefer a visual database approach, you can store all your templates in Notion with tags and categories and notes about when to use each one. So the choice is really up to you. You can see that there are a lot of different examples. And of course, the list that I'm giving you is not an exhaustive list. It's just a list that's meant to be helpful in case this is a road that you want to go down. You have some options to start with. Now, again, my suggestion is just to start small, build over time. You don't need to create 20 templates today. Start with the 3 emails you send the most often, write a solid version, save them, and start using them. I think that as you notice the time that you're saving with those templates and the ease in which you're using them, that you will grow to that list and you're going to add some to your library. So within a few weeks, you'll have a robust set of templates that probably cover 80% of your common email scenarios. And that's pretty good. I think you'll wonder why you spent years rewriting the same emails from scratch. In conclusion, the bottom line, email templates aren't about being lazy or impersonal. They're about being efficient with tasks that don't require custom creativity every single time. It's learning to use your time more efficiently. Because your time as a freelancer is finite and valuable. Every minute you spend rewriting an email you've written 10 times before is a minute that you're not spending on work that actually moves your business forward or on rest, relationships, and life outside of work. So go ahead, build that template library, customize them thoughtfully, hit send, and move on. Your future self will thank you. Thank you so much to those of you who tuned in. I would really appreciate it if you like and subscribe and help build this channel so I can keep giving you hopefully helpful tips. Until next time, take care. Bye.